It's up on the right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There we are.
The one little green area, there you go.
There we go.
You're left.
You alive now.
Good evening. Welcome to the Business and Economic Development Committee. It is Monday, August 19th. It is approximately 6:34. In attendance, we have Council Chair Pelletier, Councilor Fournier. We have Councilor Leonard, who is a voting member of this committee. We have Councilor Tremble, who's a voting member of this committee. We have Councilor Yakovaga. We have Councilor Schaefer, who is also a voting member of this committee, and I am Sue Hawes, the chair. We have Ann Krieg, who is the Director of Business and Economic Development. We have 5 items. We will be going into executive session for the last 2. So we'll remind you at home of that when we leave, because we most likely will not be back. So, first item, proposed changes to mobile home park requirements.
Yep. Our planning officer, Anya Colette's going to present that to the committee.
Great. Hello.
So this is in regards to a law that was passed a few months ago by the state legislature, LD 337. And that law required that all municipalities allow manufactured homes anywhere that single family homes are allowed, traditional single family homes. They do allow municipalities to put in design requirements and with the provision that those can't be used to circumvent the law. And we also can't preclude older mobile homes that were in the city before 1976. We can't keep those from being relocated to another place within the city. So I went through our code and I made a few changes and proposing a few changes to make to where we would be following that law of allowing these wherever single family homes are allowed. However, we do have some existing design requirements already. We already require a pitched roof. We require siding that's residential in appearance and also a permanent foundation. But I did add a few things on there based on what some other communities have done. So, for example, requiring certain roof materials that you would typically see on a home, shingles, standing seam metal roofing, things like that. Also requiring that there be doors and or windows facing the street, and also porticos. And the purpose of those is really just to make sure that if these are placed in our more historic neighborhoods like URD1, URD2, make sure they fit in with the nature of the community. And when we get into the land use code rewrite, we will look at, you know, we may want to look at design requirements for all homes, but you know, this is just sort of to deal with this issue at this point in time. And we can look further down the road at adjustments we might want to make. And then I did also propose some changes to the size of the minimum size of mobile homes to make sure that's aligned with state law. And then I also propose allowing manufactured home parks as a conditional use in the low density residential zone. It's not called out as a use at all, although we have some non-conforming mobile home parks in that zone currently. And we do also allow tiny home parks in that zone, so it seems fair to allow also mobile home parks. So that's the gist of it, and then any questions?
Any questions, Councilor?
I just have one question regarding the roofing requirements, actually. So I'm just thinking a little bit ahead with some of the 3D printed home models. The one that's being done at the University of Maine is actually able to 3D print a roof on there as well. Do we foresee that the requirements for shingles and or a metal seam to be maybe in conflict with that? Do we have to maybe, or do you think that's acceptable, or is this something that we can definitely amend later on?
Well, we could definitely amend it anytime. It's definitely an interesting question. I'd have to look at the 3D homes that are coming out. But it may still be a valid question, you know, even if I would think that they could put any type of roofing on those homes. And it's something we want to think about, you know, we want to allow 3D manufactured homes, but do we also want them to fit in with the homes around them? You know, so how do we kind of tackle that? But I definitely will look at those homes and, see what they're doing for roofing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Comments?
I think this is great. I've always actually said, like, I feel like mobile homes were the original tiny homes and so whenever I see like the tiny home shows, I'm like, oh, that's been done for a million years in rural Maine. So I think that's great. I love the keeping with the code standards of like the door and window facing the street. And I think of that all the time because that house on Pierce Street is going up, which was, I think it was a city property and we took bids on it and it's going up and it looks like it, when it's done, it's gonna look like it should be there and it has been there and it really does make a difference. And I think people don't understand what a difference it makes until they drive by one that doesn't have that. And then they get that sort of uncanny valley sensation. So I think that is fantastic. And to Councilor Leonard's statement, I would assume that, you know, if solar roofs become an option, something like that, that those would be permitted, but also that we would not allow like a thatched roof for fire safety reasons or snow load or something like that. And so making sure that it sounds like there's always room to adjust as technology demands.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other questions, comments?
Looking for a motion on this?
Yes, they need a recommendation to
Second.
go forward. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? No? Okay,
Thank you.
okay, we'll move forward.
Next on your agenda is the airport director's report.
I think he's behind us.
Yeah, he's coming.
That's that's a hard seat to get into.
He's like, where's the airport? He's
I
used
know,
to like
he's used to
limited
those
leg room.
Your extra long stay in the UK.
It was very quick.
He's not flying
It was
business
not,
jet.
definitely not long enough. Oh, good evening. I am back for another brief report with updates of things that we are working on at the airport. So I'll start covering some of the major construction projects that are happening at the airport, as that seems to be one of the most visual things that people get to see. So we recently installed Jet Bridge number 7, and that will be, it's basically operational. We need to do a couple of tweaks and adjustments to start using that along with Jet Bridge number 8, which has been in operational for a while, but it's part of that temporary bridge that we are utilizing to access some of the international gates. As far as the runway project, we are just about to transfer from phase number 3 to number 4. And that will entail, that has proven to be quite a logistical feat to try to coordinate a 16-hour closure. We've been working very closely with the airlines because it was somewhat of a operational impact to some flights. And so that is we've been working very, very closely with the air carriers to minimize the impact. It looks like that transition is going to impact about 8 flights. And it's about a month out. So the airlines are working closely with any passengers who might have been impacted by that transition. The next project that has been kind of playing in the background, and I know that Anne's team has been working on that. It's the brownfield project that we're working on addressing a site that dates back to when the airport was still a base. And so a lot of intricacies that go into that, but very soon we'll be able to go out to bid for that project to conduct cleanup and kind of bringing that site to conclusion. And I just realized that the passenger numbers are not included in the agenda, so we'll follow up with the latest updates for it.
I love that.
But when it comes to the June numbers, Because of the construction project, they dipped a little bit, so it's lower than the previous 2 years for June. But now in July, we are back to a record-breaking month. If everything aligns to what we are seeing, the current month is likely to be the record month ever in the history of the airport. And so we'll have that update as soon as we get those numbers. During the last update that I was here, we briefly covered about the Farnborough Air Show, but just to recap on that event that we participated in the UK, it was a great opportunity for us to continue to showcase the services that we provide at the FBO and how we are servicing international traffic, because that is really the one of the key landmarks that international and transient traffic gets to experience when they come to Bangor. And the way I like to put it is when they're crossing the Atlantic, they're not thinking about the community in which they're going to land, they're thinking about they have the largest runway in front of them. And so that is really what a pilot sees when they're picking a place to go to. Also, you might have seen some news on our social media channels. United Airlines was visiting us last week to provide us with a model aircraft as a means of recognition to the great work that our employees are doing at the FBO anytime that they've had to divert to Bangor specifically when it comes to transatlantic flights. So I believe the number is 37 over the last 3 years. And so again, the ease for them to come in here and get whatever issues that they might need resolution, and then getting out of here in less than 40 minutes is a huge selling point, not just for United, but for any other airlines that are coming to making a quick technical stop. And then Amy has a long list here of community engagement activities, so I won't go through all of them, but we've been very, very active with a variety of different events across the community, tours visiting the airport, and continuing to put our name out there and engaging us good neighbors and community members. And then lastly, there's two major things that I want to highlight. Number one is the Honor Flight Maine. So traditionally has been operating out of Portland, and it's a community project in which they're able to bring veterans to visit DC. And so after a significant amount of coordination between our marketing department and them, we were able to secure an Honor flight to start operating out of Bangor. So more to come on that on specific dates, and as we work through it, we'll add more updates to you guys. And lastly, but we just wrapped up our Part 139 inspection, and as a reminder, that's our yearly inspection that secures compliance with federal regulations. We had extremely positive feedback from the inspector. Those are always a kind of a check in which we're able to kind of assess where we are, how well are we complying with any federal requirements. And we did find a minor discrepancy that I would argue might have been not a discrepancy, but in the grand scheme of things, it was a closed surface in our airfield. If that's all he could find, I'm okay with that. So, and that concludes my report.
Excellent. Any questions?
I just,
Comment?
I
Councilor
think it's great that we're doing the honor flight, and it's honestly kind of
Mhm.
surprising considering our role as with the troop greeters and having such a strong role with military presence anyway. It seems like one of those, oh yeah, why hasn't this happened? So
Exactly.
that's great for you guys and your marketing team to have
Yeah.
gotten that, made that sort of full circle connection for our airport.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Director Creed, we have a third amendment to look at.
Yep, and waterfront concerts. The city solicitor is gonna present them.
Hi,
Hello?
So as you may remember, staff has been working with Waterfront Concerts to finalize the expanded lease area that was required to accommodate additional emergency egress required by the state fire marshal prior to the 2023 concert season. As part of the review by the state fire marshal, it was found that an additional emergency egress was needed to accommodate a full venue of approximately 17,000 people. There was a second amendment to the lease that was executed in June of 2023 that established a temporary expanded lease area for this use, with the understanding that the expanded lease area would be finalized when the construction of the permanent steps to accommodate the secondary means of egress was completed. They have been completed now. And the boundaries of the permanent expanded lease area have been established and confirmed by the city's engineering department and the Waterfront Concert staff. So in return for this additional leased area, Waterfront Concerts has agreed to do a number of things. They have agreed to maintain that slope on the north end of the concert venue where the egress area is for the length of time that they are that they have the possession of the property. And they've agreed to allow the city to use Waterfront's portable stage, which had become a need for the city ever since our portable stage became aged and ultimately unusable. So we're able to use that portable stage whenever we like, as long as it doesn't conflict with their use of the stage. And they also agreed to coordinate with our CNED department to develop an appropriate aesthetically pleasing mural design to be painted or applied onto the substantial portion of the length of the wooden fence that faces Main Street. And at their expense. And they've agreed that the mural will be completed by no later than the start of the 2025 concert season, with the ability to seek an extension for good cause for the mural to be completed by no later than June 15th of 2025. Waterfront has acknowledged and agreed that the final mural design has to be reviewed and recommended by the Commission on Cultural Development and finally approved by the council. So the third amendment to the lease with Waterfront Concerts finalizes the expanded lease area, which is 28,838 additional square feet as depicted in the Exhibit A in your materials. It's on the north end of the venue and provides for the city's use of the Waterfront's portable stage and the agreed upon development, approval, and painting and application of the mural design in a form to be approved by the solicitor's office. We already have the form ready to go and wanted to field any questions you might have about the third amendment.
Council Trumbull.
No, this is what we had agreed to earlier. I'm mostly fine with. I still don't agree that we couldn't have got some of that fence down. But I also am uncomfortable with just saying they'll pay for whatever it is. It seems like we should have a set price, having dealt with them for a while. It seems like we should have set the price that they'll pay to, or set some money in escrow, because I can just see next June or May or whatever, we'll get this and they say, well, it's gonna be 20,000, so we'll only pay 10,000. It seems like, I don't have any idea how much it's gonna cost. It seems like we ought to have the price set ahead of time rather than say they'll pay what it's gonna be.
Well,
Is there any way to enforce?
I've had some discussion with Alex Gray about the
Have they got an
mural
idea?
designer. They have a designer all ready to go.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be contacting Ann shortly about the process.
Okay, so it's something they're gonna propose the design.
Yes.
Okay, so originally I thought it was something the city group was gonna come forward with the
No,
design and they would be okay.
Yeah, they have a plan. for
They
the
move
design.
forward with, it, okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I would just say that I think they've done an incredible job down there. That looks really great. And having that extra egress is important. I think they agreed to that. We've got to get a way to make it safe, have a way down there for safety to try to empty that out. Hopefully we never have to, but if we did, we have it. I think the fence maintenance is important for a lot of reasons. If they didn't have the fence there, people would be all over that property down there, and we've seen it. There's already at one end of it. I noticed today coming down Main Street, at one end, there's one of those boards that has a hole at the bottom of it like that. Looks like somebody kicked a hole in it. So, but I think it's far enough down that it's probably not a detriment to them, but we probably should look at that. But the mural, that's gonna be very nice to have that. And I like the fact that they offered to work with Anne and her people to come up with something, so.
One thing I failed to mention was there was also a provision in the Third Amendment that they complete the work that they were doing on that north end so that the green space could be reopened, but that's already been completed and it has been reopened and it's
Yeah.
available. I spoke with Tracy Willett today and it's available for whatever events that the city might typically have in that area. It's smaller than it used to be, but it's there and it's open now
Mhm.
already.
Well, that's good. Any other comments, questions about this item?
If we could, just like a vote to recommend.
You need a recommendation
Yeah,
to go forward. We
recommendation.
need
So
a.
moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move this forward. Saying no doubt, it's on its way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are going into executive session. For those of you at home, we will not be returning live. But we do need a couple of motions.
I move we go into executive session under one MRSA 4056E, consultation with city solicitor, and executive session one MRSA 4056C, economic development, disposition of real property.
We are in executive session.
Christine,
I think you guys
Roll call.
stay here,
Yeah.
are you